G'day everyone and welcome to a new episode of The End of the Reel. With me is my co-host Ethan.
Hey.
And of course myself, Jared. And we're going to get straight into it. This week we watched an abomination. It was Theodore Rex.
Theodore Rex.
Yeah.
Great film.
Starring
That was
Whoopi
just
Goldberg.
fantastic.
It came out in 1995. It's starring Whoopi Goldberg as a...
Cyborg detective.
And...
I'm not sure how human she's meant to be. She says she's more human than human at one point, but she doesn't act that way.
No, and her dino detective is a dinosaur. Well, he's not an actual dinosaur. He's a clone of the dinosaur.
It's a genetic abomination.
Yeah.
Someone has created intelligent, man-sized dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it's just terrible. But the dinosaurs in this world, they're not animated, they're not CGI.
Now that's
they
a
are
good point.
people in bad rubber costumes.
Bad costumes.
So I
looked up a bit of a history on it on two sites. I just forgot what that is. They come up with the making of Theodore Rex. Apparently, the costumes themselves were terrible and they didn't work. The puppeteers, the head puppeteer was like, yeah, these don't work.
Oh, I can believe that because I don't think they don't have facial expressions or anything.
No.
They sort of waddle around looking terrifying because they're all created to look weird.
But there's no gags to them. There's nothing works well with them. Nothing.
If you've ever seen Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, the scene where he first enters a hotel and he starts tripping and there's dinosaurs talking to people and ordering drinks and stuff, that is less horrific than this movie and better dinosaurs actually than what's in this movie.
So I think that let's just get to something really important quite quickly. That there's a lot of drama behind this movie, and there's a lot of things that we're going to say about this movie.
Are you trying to explain why it's so terrible?
No, I'm trying to explain that like a lot of people might listen to this and say, "Oh, this is a good bad movie. I'll watch it."
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
Straight up, do not watch this.
I was bored. I found a lot of this boring. We checked a couple of times to see how much time was left.
But that's the point, is that the drama behind it is kind of interesting. You can look at the drama behind Theodore Rex, but the movie itself is utter
I would
shit.
not recommend watching.
As I think one of the producers or directors said, it is unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's unwatchable.
It's
them
not pleasant.
saying this.
I found it unpleasant.
So let's do a little bit of the drama first, because it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, it does. When you find out Whoopi Goldberg, great actor, did not want to be in this film at all.
Yeah, she was forced to be in it. So what happened was a few years... this was the interesting point too, was it was right after, I think, Sister Act 2. She said that she'd be on this film, Theodore Rex, and they also pitched it differently. Also, Kurt Russell was apparently meant to be in her role instead. Would have made a lot more sense to me.
I mean, it still would have been
terrible,
god awful.
Yeah, but what happened was she had given a confirmation that yes, she'll be in it, and they had a recording of it. All this crap, court case, blah, blah.
Verbal confirmation,
and a hard confirmation, and she was going to be sued for $20 million. So they forced her into it, and she fucking hated the people who forced her into it. Rightly so. So it's kind of an interesting one. It's you shouldn't really force people to do something, because even if they do it, then they might do it like shit. She hated it.
You cannot tell that she hated and did not want to be in this film at all.
She was great.
Oh no, she's pretty bad.
The entire way through this movie, you could see she was pissed off.
The only emotion she does show is just anger.
Actual anger.
Yeah.
She's not acting.
Barely constrained hate towards everything that's going on around her.
You actually have...
Occasionally she'll laugh and stuff, but it feels like she's breaking down.
Yeah.
There's a scene early on where they go to a dino bar, and this dinosaur starts... All the dinosaurs hit on her. One comes up and hits on her, and I'm guessing there should have been lines, but she just starts laughing, crying, and just walks off.
Yeah. But back to the drama bit, it's she was so mad that apparently whenever she saw the dude who sued, which kind of makes sense, or not sued her, took her to court, she would only refer to him as motherfucker, and would also refer to a whole heap of other people as motherfucker. So she was basically unapproachable, hated being on the set, and hated everyone, and everyone else also said that they didn't enjoy working with her or working on the set anyway.
No one seemed to be having fun.
No, it's a visible thing where these are real actors. These aren't B-grade actors. These are actual...
a lot of the acting is pretty bad.
That's not the point. What I mean is, like, these actors have abilities.
I've seen them in other... You've seen these people in other things. But the assassin who gets, like, 3 lines has been in quite a lot of stuff.
They're not actually trying. That's the thing. These actors are... no one is having fun. It's not a B-grade
The only person I liked in the film was Drusilla.
Yeah.
The one who plays Drusilla in Buffy. Yeah, she's, like, the only passable actor in it. The only one who seems to be trying, really.
She kind of... Well, there's also the other guy who's the head of the clone kid thing. I don't know what they are. There's so much in this movie.
The choppers or the zappers or something?
I don't know. Because there are so many things in this movie, but none of them are explained.
So I'm pretty sure the bad guys have a group of henchmen who I think are some sort of clone creations, or they're made from dead bodies, because they get threatened... the bad henchman threatens to put them all in a blender again. So I think they're created clones.
We'll start also with, like, trying to explain, like, piecing together. This world's just...
We should start right from the start.
Yeah.
It opens with Once Upon a Time, I think, in the future. Yeah. That's the opening title crawl.
And then it says tomorrow.
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the Future, tomorrow, or something.
Yeah.
And then it explains the plot of the movie. It says Elazar Kane is a geneticist who's creating clones and he's planning to blow up the world tomorrow night.
Right.
Or start a new ice age and he's going to create an ark or something.
Right. Well, that's what...
Just straight away destroys any mystery in this mystery movie.
Well, that's the thing. There was so much of that going on that it didn't make any sense. Nothing goes together.
But they were also explaining everything that was going on.
Well, then the thing is, it goes...
every decision.
And then the voice comes over and it's like, and there are 2 people who escaped from his compound and they know the truth and they're running away, right? And one of them is a clone, I think.
Yeah, one of them's a cloned human and one of them is a dinosaur.
Right. And what happens is we... get a weird dream sequence. Oh, that's right.
Because all the dinosaurs are telepathic.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. So all the dinosaurs are telepathic, and you get a weird dream sequence of the dinosaur just getting a butterfly and then it blows up. And then
its head gets blown up. Was this a kid's movie?
I think it was.
It's got a lot of violence and death for a kid's movie.
And adult jokes. Well, I say... Okay, wait. Not a joke. Nothing was actually... There were no attempts at... Oh, jeez, was I even... No, there were no attempts at jokes.
It was just innuendo.
There was no... That's the weirdest thing. I was watching this and I honestly was thinking that Holmes and Watson, a horrible movie, at least they attempted jokes or tried to do setups, so you could see what they were trying for. This movie, there weren't attempts at jokes because you didn't even know what they were going for. There's no jokes. There's nothing set up. There's no humorous scenes or ideas.
Because then it goes to...
Oh, except for the fact that he's got a tail. He's got a tail.
The human clone who is shot in the back and then is picked up by a truck and they're about to dissect him.
Yeah.
Which is when Whoopi Goldberg and her cop partner turn up.
And she's been off the force or on the force.
So, well, I think she was being repaired or something. So they come in and they just start blasting people.
Yeah. And this is the other very important thing to point out. So the movies is just scraps of ideas that are put together to make scenes.
So, like, there's bits of Blade Runner, there's bits of Jurassic Park.
And it's to form somehow to go into the plot. But
because she's not a Blade Runner, she's a gun.
Yes. And the very important thing to remember here is when you do look up the drama again, is that the guy who wrote it, who famously wrote The Last Starfighter,
great movie.
He was rewriting their lines on the scene on set. So that's why nothing makes sense. So it's like maybe
nothing makes sense, but some things are over explained.
But like because they're trying to explain why they do it, because that's why the scenes go into it.
There's a bit early on after the dinosaur is murdered, they all share the dream. Theodore Rex, who is in the police department but is not a detective, barges into like a really swanky sort of affair, corners the commissioner and goes, "Give me this case, make me a detective," and the commissioner says yes, but only after the commissioner and his second in charge go across the room and discuss why they're going to say yes. They're like, "Oh, yeah, this will be great PR for the dino thing. Oh, yeah, this will be good. But we got to make it short. He's kind of a klutz. I don't know."
So this is another one where it's like, they kind of have idea. They're like, since he's a dinosaur in like a human world, we'll do it about like race relations. Get it? It's sort of that. But that's it.
It never comes up.
They literally just have the idea.
They just say it's about race relations, but you never see humans and dinosaurs interacting really.
Well, they even
in a bad way.
Like I know I'm coming to the end, but they even do it at the end. It's like they don't. There's no moral to it, but they go, "Oh, we have to tell a moral." So like at the end, they'll be like, "Use your brain. Don't use guns. Guns are bad." And it's like they literally wrote down what they wanted to express in the story as the line, and that's what they do here. They're like, yeah, race relations. And it's like, yes. Is there a divide between the dinosaurs and the humans? Apparently not. They look fine in the fucking bar.
Yeah.
They're all fine together.
Also,
they fuck all the time.
There is an annoying running gag throughout the movie that these dinosaurs are incredibly clumsy and he's constantly smacking shit over with his tail. Like, not a little bit. Like, he's knocking people out with his tail as he's walking along. But at other times, he's able to, like, reach through doors and tap people on the shoulder with it. That was just an annoying little joke that kept going. It just irritated me.
I think that's the only one I can see as their ideal of what could be funny. Like,
oh, you know what? Okay, there's two running jokes. There's that, and Whoopi Goldberg has a kid
cookies.
Friend. Oh, cookies.
He likes cookies.
Which I'm going to say is a euphemism for sex. Especially when he gets the female dinosaur back home and he just goes, cookies, 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 and runs into the house with her.
For no reason.
Yeah. But the other running joke is...
This is not entertaining to actually watch.
Whoopi Goldberg has a kid friend...
Yeah.
Who runs the sushi bar that she goes to. That's a very Blade Runner scene, you know, where he goes to eat Chinese food. It's her, but she's being served by this sassy little kid who keeps trying to set her up with his dad.
Yeah. And now, the reason that it was very Blade Runner...
You gotta hang around with my dad. He'll be here soon. You'll really hit it off.
And I was like, wait, this kid's just like manning this place by himself. This is like child labor. And what else made it...
Well, was it meant to be a dystopian future?
I don't know.
I couldn't tell, but it's like everyone looked happy and all the sets were bright and fun. But at the same time, the police were walking around with machine guns.
They wanted to be Blade Runner. Well, it's like she sees a dog.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Does that dog come back?
No. Nothing makes any sense.
She picks up a stray dog on the street.
She just goes to a dog. She just says, "Oh, you're a cute dog." Then she just picks it up, walks over to the kid, and is like,
"This is my new dog." No, doesn't she? She tells the police who come to pick her up to take it back to her place.
Oh.
Yeah, and you just never see the dog again.
You never see that. Yeah, there's something about... And I honestly was like, did she just steal someone's dog?
If it's hard to follow, like, the story from what we're saying, it's because the story is really hard to follow.
There's really no...
There are scenes that are just in there and don't make sense.
The thing... let's do this. I'm going to tell you the plot, and then we're just going to talk about the scenes, because there's no point in talking about chronologically.
There is the evil clone guy. He is trying to start a new ice age.
For some reason.
And he's creating an ark
Yep.
with some people in it.
Yeah.
Two of every species. Two of the weird species that he's created.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, so he's got an ark and he's going to explode it tomorrow night. The two people find out, or the two things find out about it. They get murdered. That puts the dino detective on the case. And Whoopi Goldberg, she comes back on, and they put her on with him because they're sure that they won't be able to get the case done in time. And it's their adventures of trying to figure out who did it, even though they know straight away, and they're introduced into to the people who did it, knowing that it was them, basically, straight away.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There isn't much detective work.
And then what happens is we just have random scenes of them kind of going around to different things that they say are connected, but don't add up to anything.
Yeah, well, they find out who created the butterfly bomb that killed the dinosaur.
Oh, yeah.
The puppet master.
No, the toy master.
The toy master?
Yeah.
Which leads into the weirdest scene. So they go to...
The toy master
this is the part...
No, the toy master was the only sort of interesting scene in the entire movie. It was so
weird, though.
Only because it wasn't explained.
The tone of the building first was so different to, like, the rest of the place.
Oh, yeah.
Like the apartments that they're in, most of the dinosaur town... It's like some sort of kid show with bright colours and everything.
You know what I love about his apartment? You totally forgot his dino shoes.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back. But the toy master's place, he's living in a factory that's filled with frozen dead bodies.
Mm-hmm.
All these, it's just this dark warehouse filled with these frozen bodies of people who are hoping to be resurrected. It was just so
it's kind
different
of,
to everything
very
else.
Dark. It's not kids one. It's like, yeah, these are all the dead people, and the people after us are actually stuck together dead people.
Yeah. So they find a bag with puppets in it.
Yeah.
And the puppet master, this is like one of the boring bits. Well, this is how boring it is. It's just them talking to this puppet in a roundabout way for like 5 minutes.
No, it's not that long, but it does
feels like it goes on for a long time because it's nothing. Nothing comes of it. It's just them talking to this hand puppet.
You know what, though? It's the only sort of interesting scene for me.
Because the puppet was interesting?
Well, it's because there was no explanation of what was going on. Because normally beforehand they say, like, what they're doing and what's happened. They're
explaining excruciating detail.
They're like, oh, she's a singer. We will go talk to her. And she's like, I'm a singer. But with this
he was not my husband. He was my friend.
This is the only one that's not explained. But of course, also they have the worst transition I've like ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, because the scenes aren't set up or anything. It'll just jump to things.
Yeah, it really made me wish that like it was. I don't know.
The time also doesn't make sense. But they confront the puppet master. I keep calling him the puppet master.
They
confront the toy master, which is really weird. So Whoopi Goldberg is in the same police outfit the whole time, despite the fact that they're meant to be undercover. She is dressed as a policewoman. The dinosaur Theodore is meant to be undercover.
Okay, stay on the toy master. And we'll get to that in a second.
But he's pretending to be undercover, so he goes, "I need to buy guns."
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a policeman and I don't have guns. That's his idea of undercover. Then he explains it as a policeman who wants a bigger gun.
Yeah, and then they get like
immediately the toy master's like starts bringing out guns, and Theodore goes, "Actually, I'm here to ask you about the murder."
Yeah,
that was it.
It was really, and that's what you can tell that they've written a set or scene, and then they've come to the set and they've gone, "Here's your new lines," and they're like, "Oh, we're just..."
Because things don't make sense from one scene to another.
Literally from one line to another line, they'll say something that, like, doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But then you have a torture scene.
Yeah, they torture this guy who immediately tells them the entire plot of the show.
He just threatens that he's going to eat him eventually.
Yeah.
They go through some very, very, very dumb...
Weird... it's childish.
I guess this is where the jokes were.
Yeah, because he farts on it. He sits and farts on him. Yeah. Or at least there's fart noises.
Yeah. And there's something about his breath that I think is meant to be a joke, but it's not really played well.
He's meant to have terrible dino breath.
And that guy then tells him, yeah, it's what's his name, that guy. And it was like, yeah, we know.
We all know.
We all fucking
We've known for a long time
it's literally
what is happening.
No one else it could be.
But did you want to talk about the costumes?
Well, I want to talk about another scene that just doesn't... So that's the problem.
There's so much crap. This movie is filled with so much crap to talk about, it's difficult to get straight.
So one of the scenes where they're talking and it's like, the entire scene could be cut out. So they go to the geneticist's carnival, what was it? It's like his wildlife park where he has wild animals.
In his office.
And as they're entering that scene, they're like, oh yeah, he collects wild animals and species and stuff, and he also clones all the animals and different dinosaurs.
Which makes no sense. Why is he creating these human dinosaur hybrids? And everyone seems to be okay with it.
The thing is that it's explained right as they're entering, like, he collects all these different species, right?
Yeah.
Then they do the stupid scenes where nothing happens, and they end up finally, we're here about blah, blah, blah. And the guy's like, okay. And then they're like, why do you have all these different species? And the guy's like, I collect them and everything. And they go, yep. And then they just leave the scene. I'm like, what the fuck?
The bad guys made no sense at all.
Why would you go somewhere, explain that this guy, that's like his core thing, and that's your questioning, is like,
why do you have these animals? Yeah. I collect them. Okay, goodbye.
But they knew that. They said it as they were going in.
He's a major collector.
That's where it's like, the lines have just been rewritten. And okay, so we'll get to the undercover, not undercover cop bit. Yeah. So, the dino detective dude...
He becomes a detective. He gets put on the case.
There's a scene where... Oh my god.
He's got to get a new outfit to look like a cop, but look like an undercover cop.
Because
We haven't had enough comedy yet.
No, because as soon as he got put on the case, which is planned by the bad guys, they put those weird Zapper dudes on him.
Well, that's what I say. The bad guys don't make sense. Like, they've got a day. They just need a day to finish everything up.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason, they're putting all their effort into stopping these two police, but not stopping them.
But
because they don't actually want to stop them.
Yeah. It doesn't... They don't need to. But
yeah.
We'll talk about...
They actually make it harder for themselves by putting these incompetent bad guys on them.
This is just such a mess. This is a mess. Like, I feel bad talking about this. It's such a fucking mess of a movie. So the Zapper dudes were put on their case to make sure that they don't find out or do find out something. And the point is, though, they specifically say in this scene...
they're so conspicuous that you can't not notice them.
Oh, yeah.
So instantly, as dumb as Whoopi Goldberg and Theodore Rex's characters are, they instantly know something's going on.
Yeah, but the point is, though, Whoopi Goldberg's gone home, and now the Dino dude's going home. Or Rex is going home. And the Zapper dudes then have a scene where they say, like, oh, I want to get him. And the head one goes, no, we were told we cannot get them. And then it cuts straight to them chasing him down the street on rollerblades and then spraying cum all over the car.
Yeah, well, they hack his car apart and they spray foam all over it.
But you see what I mean by...
But that's also a part with the time. The time doesn't make sense because...
But the lines don't make sense. Nothing makes sense.
She's in her apartment. She finds out that he's been attacked. Or she's somewhere. And instantly she's there and he's still sitting in his car.
Yeah.
Like it's just happened.
The lines themselves don't make... How can... You can literally have... We cannot go near him. Next scene.
No, but then he says, but there's nothing... They didn't say we couldn't tweak his tail or something.
Oh my God.
Something like that.
That doesn't make any... Okay.
They were like Power Ranger villains, but with less brains.
So you want to talk about bad, like... So
bad
the
comedy.
Start of the movie, he wakes up in bed, then he goes to that party, but that's at night. So that means that tomorrow night must be already... And it's like, nothing makes sense.
Yeah. The commissioner, when he does get the case, the commissioner orders him, he's got to have results by tomorrow prime time, so he can present it to the news.
So he's got like 5 hours to figure out
who murdered the dude. Is to figure out a double homicide.
Alright, so...
I don't think that's how police work.
I will get to him wearing the clothes. We'll talk about the dino clothes anyway. So he has dino shoes, but he also has dino slippers, which are in the shape of dino feet, which is really weird because if that was a human, they're wearing like human slippers. Yeah, I just realized that probably exists. So
yeah, it must be really hard for him to get changed, and the only time they do show him changing is with the magical machine that changes his clothes.
So the magical machine. So after the zappers come all over his car, the magical machine thing, he goes in and there's this chick who's like, oh, how you doing? Of course, because whatever.
I think it's it's like the only police woman that's friends with him or something.
I don't know. Of course it is.
Because I swear one of the police women he was friends with in an earlier scene is later one of the ones bullying and laughing at him.
I don't know. Anyway, so we get this horrible scene where he's like, all right. So he says, okay, I'm a cop now. So I have to
But he was already a cop. He wasn't a detective.
But he's like, I'm a detective now. I have to go undercover, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, he's gonna like wear clothes to blend in.
He's already wearing casual clothes. He's not in a uniform or anything.
But then this is where it gets... Yeah, but he looks like shit because he got cum on.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the bit that really doesn't make... So now we get this atrocious scene where it's just like...
It cycles from one offensive stereotype to the next.
Yeah.
1 minute he's a mariachi band, and the guy, he must have like shown off that he could do different voices.
Yeah.
Because it's got him doing just the most stereotypical voices ever.
He's a samurai.
Which doesn't make sense because he seems like he's annoyed. Like, okay, stop playing around. You got to put me in actual cop clothes. Oh, I'm a mariachi band. Like he plays along with it. He does bits.
So the only reason I thought that was kind of funny was because I honestly thought about the costume person who had to like make a giant dinosaur's mariachi. They were like, okay, so we need a mariachi band and we need a samurai.
But it's not just like once and then, okay, they put him in actual clothes. There's like 4 or 5 different outfits they put him in. Yeah.
Yeah.
And each one is like just this
fucked up.
Fucked up weird shit.
And it's just not fun. But the weird bit about that, so again, keep in mind, he's a detective who's going undercover, right?
Yeah.
So then Whoopi Goldberg comes in, and she's all like, make him look like a cop. And it's
I think they were telling her to, like, look like she thought it was funny or anything, but she just comes in, just make him look like a cop.
No. She keeps saying, no, she's like, he has to be an undercover cop. Make him look like a cop. But it's like, no, you don't want him to look like a cop if it's an undercover scene.
And of course, in the end, he just ends up being in a hoodie and jeans.
Hoodie and jeans. God.
Yeah.
So we also have a scene where they go to a bar, and that's a scene where we find out that dinosaurs can fuck humans, or soft skins as they like to
Yeah, they like to call them soft skins. How many dinosaurs are there in this world? I could not figure it out.
Nothing is explained.
Because I think the dinosaurs can breed, but I don't know if they are.
No, don't fucking put logic to it.
Yeah, okay. The world makes no sense. Because there is a dino town. There's a dino section of the town.
So the joke is that this dinosaur wants to fuck Whoopi Goldberg. That's it. The dinosaur just looks at her and makes weird noises and want to fuck her.
Yeah.
That's really it. And also we are introduced to the sassy gay dinosaur. That was fucking insane.
There was a lot of insane bits.
That was
Later
insane.
on, there's the sort of spiritual elder dinosaur.
Because, yeah, that's what...
The dinosaurs constantly talk about, like, actual dinosaurs. Like, they're related to them. But they're nothing alike.
No.
They're not related to them at all.
So, yeah, we get sassy gay dinosaur, which is just...
Well, we don't know. No, I mean, he was sassy. But yeah.
Is as bad as it sounds. As bad as it fucking sounds. And then you get this spiritual dinosaur for the funeral, which, by the way, Rex is super fucking turned on by the funeral.
The funeral scene is weird.
He's turned on by it. As soon as...
They go into detail about the funeral arrangements of these dinosaurs.
Well, that's the music chick, the dinosaur, is going to be there. And he's like, oh, yeah, funerals. I fucking love funerals. And you're like, this is so...
I love a good funeral.
So
the dinosaurs, despite having been recent creations, have these ancient and quite elaborate funeral rituals.
I thought that
First of all, they have to be buried. They have to have the funeral the day after you've died.
I thought they were New Age hipsters or something, you know.
But it's this giant... So the body is liquefied, and then that is used to fertilize plants that the dinosaurs take home. And I'm pretty sure they eat the plants, because they're shown eating a lot of the flowers before. Which is weird, but they get into drum circles and they dress up in tribal gear.
I don't see a huge issue with this. I just thought the whole movie...
I just thought it was weird.
Well,
like the fact that they're not this ancient race. They've come into being like a few decades ago.
Yeah, they gotta have...
And they've got these weird, elaborate rituals.
So what?
Where have they come from?
They're allowed to make their own shit up. What's the fucking issue with that? If they have no backstory, so they're like, yeah, we like drums, that's cool.
Yeah, but
no issue with
but they take it so seriously. It's like, you've got to do this and this. This is the way we do things.
That's fine if that's their way, dude. That's no fucking problem with it. But they do have someone stand up and start screaming about how he was wrongly killed or something, and it doesn't...
I think one of them starts testifying or something.
Testifying about something.
Yeah. Was it about how the smooth skins did it?
I don't know. So... Another movie that only came out recently, Netflix Bright.
Yeah,
That movie is a movie where it's very similar, actually. It's about orcs becoming... yes, it is. It is. The core of it is like the orc is the policeman, and it's so interesting. Bright isn't even a good movie.
It was okay.
Bright
I didn't mind it.
So much better than this film and tackles so many things that this film tried to do. It's incredible. So I'm not saying to really see... I didn't mind Bright, actually.
Yeah, it was okay.
But if you're going to see a movie, maybe Bright's a better choice than this.
Anything's a better choice than this. Literally anything. You don't watch a movie.
Another bit of the backstory is that I'm pretty sure that most of the actors thought that the dinosaurs were meant to be animated. And this made me think, and I did a little bit of research, because I was trying to think, what is an animated film with a cop kind of detective thing? Bam, Roger Rabbit came out in 1988. That is a perfect time for the author to have like seen it and gone
really badly copied the idea.
Yeah, so I think Roger Rabbit is definitely like an inspiration.
A much better film.
Of where it works
much better film.
So well compared to this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even... This is the problem. I don't even know where to go I don't know where to go with this movie. We have the kid who just wants her to get...
Oh, yeah. So the bad guys kidnap the kid and the female dinosaur that Theodore likes. Molly. And... so at this point, they've found that they realize what's going on. They go to Ella's Arcanes. For some reason, they don't take backup or tell anybody. They just steal a helicopter from the Zappers. They get the Zappers to help them.
Yeah.
They don't have time to go to a nearest police station, but they do have time to kidnap, attack the Zappers and steal their helicopter, which they use to fly into the bad guy's base, who doesn't have security. I don't know why they bothered. This movie is just...
Let's talk a little bit too about,
the minute they get there, he just sets the rocket off anyway.
Yeah,
which didn't make any sense. So he's starting the second ice age with the rocket, but the ark with the animals and stuff, that's down on the ground. They're frozen. Was that meant to thaw out after a certain amount of time?
I don't know. It's like the fucking fact that they're there, right, where the thing is, right, and then it's later on, they're driving away from it, but to go to it, and it's you were just fucking there.
Oh, where were they going?
I don't know. No one knows. Nothing is explained. Nothing makes sense. Not only that, but you can tell so many... Okay, so who was their actor? There was 2 actors who were trying in this movie. The one you like.
There's Drusilla from Buffy,
right.
And
the guy who's the head of the Zappers.
Oh, the main bad guy. He turns up in a lot of stuff.
Oh no, the Zapper, not Edge or whatever.
Oh, him? No, I have no idea.
Yeah, I felt he was terrible, but he was doing a TV Kids.
Yeah, villain. Someone had told him act like a Power Rangers villain, and that's what he was doing. He was this over the top Power Rangers villain.
So yeah, that's the thing. Let's give some credit where credit's due. He did.
They did their bit,
and Drusilla did a really good fucking bit.
The kids' acting was terrible.
Everyone else. Honest, you could tell, you could hear the spite.
Well, when the main bad guy, voice. Eliza Kane, is introduced, I'm pretty sure his first few lines are dubbed. And it sounds nothing like him.
I couldn't understand him during most of this film.
Yeah.
What is with that? I couldn't understand him. I couldn't understand so many scenes because it's just so poorly done. So yeah, most of these you could just tell no one wanted to be there. It's $33 million. It looks like shit.
They turned up for their paycheck and left.
It went straight to video, which was actually, I think it made a record at the time for being the most expensive straight to video.
Because didn't you say it was $30 million?
$33 million.
Straight direct to video.
Yeah.
Trash.
It won all these awards, it Razzies and all this.
Yeah. No, not awards, but awards for being terrible.
It's really not fun to watch. That's why explaining it's so hard, and I understand if someone's like, oh, this podcast is all over the fucking place.
You're all over the place.
Really? This movie is a mess and there's no point. There is no point. Do not watch this movie. The drama behind it is interesting. Do not watch it. We'll get to some stuff. So, is this a kid's movie? I don't know.
I can't tell. Well, there's a whole section right in the middle where the kid has badgered Whoopi Goldberg into coming to the park. The park is an empty lot in the middle of a giant city of trashed cars.
Yeah.
And they have a small game of hockey.
Yeah.
With the dinosaur.
Where the dinosaur hits his tail to hit 3 things in. And then he's like, oh, if only my dad was here. You're like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
What is wrong with you, kid? He's like, I really want you to fuck my dad.
Yeah.
Maybe his dad, beats him because he doesn't have sex.
Well, the dad turns up right at the end.
Yeah. And my God.
The kid keeps, that was motioning to him, and Whoopi Goldberg
just looks across. And the dad just looks, and it's the most, it's just the weirdest... He just stares back, and you're like, is there meant to be a love there? But something else about kids' film. So later on where... again, they're at the dude's place to stop the rocket from going off. But just before that, the bad cop guy turns up.
The cop who convinced the commissioner to put Theodore Rex on the case.
Yeah.
For some reason.
So he's like, where's my place on the ark? And Drusilla's like, you're not on the ark. Or something like that. But the point is, she's like, well, what do you have for us to put you on the ark?
Do you have any family ailments we should know about? Family traits.
And he straight up goes, well, my family. Yeah, you want to...
Big feet run in my family.
Very big
Because he's hitting on her the whole way through.
Yeah, It was just horrible. It was so bad because you knew he wanted to say very big dick, and you're just like,
it had that energy,
and it was just horrible. It was just like such a horrible scene, and kids just. There's like no good sound in the background. The sound's really bad. Everything's bad.
I noticed a few times that there was like no sound at all.
That's when you know
there were
it's
just
like a horrible
empty
movie.
bits of movie where they're like driving to places where there's no background sound.
But why would you have like such a
it's just them traveling?
A straight direct joke of like he has a big dick, and he wants to fuck her, and that's like your kid movie joke. That's not.
Well, he gets
funny.
killed like 2 seconds later.
I know,
so,
but it's just fucked, man. It's just so weird. Oh my god, and then there's when they're fighting the henchmen or whatever, there's a scene where Whoopi Goldberg gets shot, and also the entire
so
movie,
because it's mentioned a few times that people will mention, oh, you got to get your circuits repaired and stuff, but you never actually see any robot-y sort of stuff out of it. It's not like she has exposed wiring or anything. So right at the end she gets shot, some really bad electric sparks come off her, and she just goes, I've got to turn off for a while.
Yeah, but before that she tells him, well, I mean, like, Rex has been saying he needs a gun, but he doesn't have a gun.
Well, it's mentioned a couple of times that she's like, what kind of cop doesn't have a gun? And there are multiple times throughout the movie
where a gun works,
where he really needed a gun.
But at this point, though, he's like, oh, I'll take a gun. And she's like, no, don't take a gun. Use your brain. Which is really weird, because in the next scene, he just uses his raw strength to bend metal bars.
Yeah.
And then he does this weird thing where he gets the guy out of the seat, and then the car flies into a billboard and explodes, which my friend next to me...
The billboard is filled with napalm or something, because it goes up
that's what
straight away.
My friend next to me died laughing and said that was the only funny thing.
Why would he have a billboard of himself in his home?
Yeah.
In his driveway?
Man, we totally forgot about the cookie scene where he wants to fuck the
I don't even want to talk
chick.
about that.
You don't want to talk about the dino sex?
No.
There's this huge music chick dino.
There's so much weird dinosaur stuff. Like, in a movie, you should not have multiple scenes of dinosaurs taking baths. It was just weird.
Why would you want a dinosaur to have a bath? That's not what I want to... I normally don't think a bath scene is good in, like, most movies. Like, a bath scene...
Because it's meant to be sexy, I think. Were you checking out Molly the dinosaur?
Oh my god, they went to her, like, leg when she was undressing.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
Was it meant to be sexy?
It was meant to be sexy.
Ugh.
It's like, oh yeah,
maybe Scalies would like this film, maybe?
Yeah, dinosaurs want to fuck all the time.
Yeah.
And they want to fuck into extinction. And it's like, no, God, this is it's a kid's movie. Starts off with a guy getting shot, then mutilated for his body parts.
Yeah.
Right? That's how the kid movies start. Hey, this is for kids. We're going to shoot some dude
and for like a noir film, there's no mystery solving.
No,
really.
None whatsoever. They just go straight to the only guy who's the geneticist, who's the only guy who could do any of this.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre. It's just... So all you've got is shooting people, fucking people, taking their bodies apart, and dinosaurs wanting to do interspecies.
I feel like we're making this sound more interesting than it is.
Because
it's a boring film.
It sounds so interesting, but it is so horrible.
Yeah.
It's just... I'll wrap it. Let's just wrap it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about this film anymore.
This movie is not worth watching because it is... Again, you have to remember...
It is not an entertaining film.
Think about someone who really doesn't want to be in a film, which is Whoopi Goldberg, walking around with a really shitty dinosaur.
Telling
puppet.
the lamest jokes possible.
The puppet's not
They're not even jokes.
They're just saying then random things, which it doesn't relate to anything. It's not extreme and nothing. And then kind of just go into different sets where they just walk around and don't...
Random shit happens.
Yeah, so there's no, like... That's what you got to think of it as. Would you want to watch that for, like, an hour and a half?
No.
Because the answer is no. Because it's not high intensity. It's not crazy. I know the way we've explained it's crazy, but it's played so boring, so dull. Like, everyone wanted to just leave.
Yeah.
That's why when I was talking to you about this, if this was like The Asylum... I don't even like the Asylum films. But if the Asylum
probably would have had more effort in it.
Because they would have, like, played it off. They would have been like, this is fucking stupid, you know? But it's like, That's why it's like throwing like a whole heap of B-grade actors who will play their role and like overact and everything. That would be so much more entertaining. But instead, you just have a whole heap of like actual proper actors who are just like, this is shit. This is a shitty set. I don't like this. The dinosaur walks from here to here. Like they're just getting the shots done.
Yeah.
And putting it in, and it's fucking rubbish. Do not watch this. This is halfway through the movie. I said pause it. I said, how much do we have left? And there's halfway left. And we all let out audible groans, and we're like, I can't fucking do this.
Yeah.
We have a very high tolerance. We listen to other podcasts where they say it takes them 3-4 times to get through a movie that we watch in one run. We did watch this in one run. But normally, like, I've never really before said to, like, we can't, like, we'll watch it another time. This is the only time ever...
You wanted to stop.
Where I've been like...
You looked bored. I was bored.
Fucking boring.
Yeah.
Like, and this was 3 guys watching it together, like... We were riffing on it, but there's nothing to riff on.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's nothing to talk about. What we talk about...
You just talk about how painful Whoopi looks.
Yeah.
Like she...
She sounded so angry.
There are points where it felt like she was just talking and they get the cameras rolling. Like, the dinosaur will sort of be in her way when she's trying to move to place, and she'll just be like, just move.
Yeah.
And just in an angry voice, and the dinosaur will be like, oh, sorry. And just sort of shamble across.
It's
and it's
because
like,
the puppets didn't work.
Yeah.
So it's a disaster. You can look it up. The results come up on Google of like, Theodore Rex, how did this get made, like, thing on it. There's a site that actually has them talking about it, and there's another one where it explains all this backstory. Far more interesting than the actual movie. Please do not waste your time watching this movie.
Yeah. I don't think many people did, because I don't think it made its money back.
We did. We fucking wasted
Oh, yeah, okay. We wasted that
time. It's an hour and a half of my life I'll never get back. Yeah.